Hello, Feisties, here at home and here in Kona. It is episode 5 of We're Back Bitches, and we are here with Joanne Murphy, live from Kona Canoe Club. Yay!
Hello, Feisties. Aloha.
Aloha. Okay, before we get started, we need to thank our sponsors. We have Wahoo, Lever, and Tches, who all allow us to be here this week. So check out the links to their various discounts in our show notes.
And Joanne, I feel like we saw you at the beginning of the week, back in ages ago. And you had so much energy. We were jumping.
Yeah.
What have you been up to all week?
Well, I'm afraid that the whole podcast would be taken up with my diary, my show week. God, I can't even remember. So we met on Monday. We were Irish dancing by the Kona sign.
And it made it into the reel. If anyone hasn't seen the reel on Feisty Triathlon, check it out.
And damn right it should make it into the
Obviously.
reel. It was the best part of the whole thing.
It was.
So we met Monday, but I landed on Friday afternoon from Ireland, 39 hours of travel, including a little gap of a break in LA overnight. And then we had the Kona Town Fun Runs. We had 5K run on Saturday. Sunday was the Hoala Swim. We saw Lucy Charles skip into the water and then walk out like a queen.
I feel like people need to know they told them to walk slowly into the water.
Yes, they did.
Like I was standing there, they had a whole talk about it, and then everyone was like, "What's happening?"
Yeah, but Lucy just like she skipped.
Did a little,
she did. She was just like loving it. Yeah. So that was Sunday. Then Monday was, and these are all just like the public events that we did. So we did Heroes of Hawaii. Tuesday was the Parade of Nations, but also there was the Keiki Dip and Dash. I wasn't involved in that.
And Keiki means kids, right?
Yeah.
We had to teach one of our.
Oh, we've got to teach people some new words. So ikomamai is welcome to Hawaii. Welcome. So then that was Tuesday. Wednesday, I hosted an incredible event with Daniela Reef, the North American premiere of her new documentary Life After Elite Sport. I'm trying to think. That was Wednesday. What else happened Wednesday? Oh, the legacy reception on Wednesday.
Happened,
Wednesday evening, we inducted Cherie Gruenfeld into the Ironman Hall of Fame. Yesterday was the press conference and the Ikomomai banquet. Today I'm with the Feisty.
Today's Feisty Media Podcast Day.
Yeah.
The
and
best
then
day.
What else do I have today?
What else
Bike check-in, race day tomorrow, press conference, finish line, and then Sunday is the awards banquet, and Monday is the mahalo party for our volunteers.
Right.
So they're all the events that I'm fronting or have led and have worked on across the week.
I'm wildly impressed by your memory.
Yeah, me too.
Your ability to keep track of all that.
It's that, well, yeah, on Wednesday evening at the Aloha reception where we inducted Cherie Gruenfeld, I listed some of the things that we had done, and I was like, it's actually only Wednesday.
Right.
You know, we still have all these things to
Right.
go before Saturday, but it's been a lot of fun. And it's great to see so many people, so many friends from all around the world who've qualified and have made it here to the Big Island. So it's been pretty cool.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
And we saw you. I mean, we briefly saw you at the press conference yesterday.
Yeah.
We texted you. We liked your dress at the
Oh,
welcome event. Yeah.
it was a nice dress.
It
wasn't
was
it?
nice. The
Yeah.
pink. It's so bright.
It
I love
popped.
it. Yeah. Neon's coming back.
Neon's
And you're
coming
helping
back.
that wave.
Yeah, but it's not even a neon color. It's just the way the lights were.
Right. Oh, really?
Yeah, but
Okay.
actually, what I really liked about that dress yesterday was that Jasmine, who is our CEO's
Assistant,
executive assistant, she did my hair.
Ah.
And she put the braids in my hair.
Very
and
nice.
I'm not sure if people at home realize just how hot it is on stage here in Kona.
Yeah.
Even though there was like a little bit of drizzly rain, the humidity wasn't as bad. But when you're standing on stage and you've got the bright lights and a dress on,
Yeah.
when your hair is as thick as mine that's sitting on your neck, you are sparkling profusely. I'm not going to say sweating. I'm going to say
I've been there this
sparkling.
week. Yeah.
Profusely.
There was no breeze last night.
There was
too.
no.
It was
there was a
pretty-
breeze. Yeah, no, there was. We did
There
get a breeze.
was? Oh,
Yeah,
you
we
got a
did
breeze.
get a
Okay.
breeze.
We
Yeah.
were every day we were like, is it getting hotter? Are we unacclimating? What is happening?
Yeah. So my rationale for running as much as I could as well was, okay, I got to be able for race day, fit for Kona. But the more you run on the island, the more you get acclimated to the
You think
heat.
so?
I
Is
think.
that a thing? Is that a real thing?
I don't know.
Science.
Science. Do you know what? I'm manifesting it. It's like a regular, it's like
definitely
a
a real
regular
thing.
podcast.
Yeah.
We're just going to manifest
Yeah,
that this
it's
is going to
true
be
now,
scientifically
yeah.
proven. But yeah, the heat. So Jasmine did my hair, and it just kind of adds to the fun bit of the occasion as well. And yeah, we had great fun. And of course, Tammy Barker was on the team with us as well. First time in Kona. She was with us at the Ironman 70.3 Worlds in Taupo, and she's just like a live wire. She was brilliant up on the
She's
stage
more of a
last
live
night.
wire than you.
100%.
Oh my god. Okay.
Yeah. I think if you like magnify me by maybe
That's-
200%.
That's a lot.
200.
Yeah. No, she's
Okay.
just cool. She's cool. We
Amazing.
love her. Yeah, she's brilliant.
We talked to, this is random, but we talked to Jasmine earlier in the week, and she was listening to us. Like, she's worked for a long time at the company. She's done all the different jobs, and she was telling us which jobs she will no longer do.
Oh, interesting.
Uh-huh. And I think braiding your hair is probably like a good job. Working the changing tent. She says she doesn't do that anymore.
One of them was scraping up the roadkill before the race.
Yeah.
Oh, stop. Yeah, could you imagine?
Yeah, I was like, fair.
But you know,
fair.
people would probably come out and take that roadkill. You know, have you ever seen that documentary where people eat the roadkill?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah,
It's a
not
thing.
yeah, it is a
not
thing.
Here, not part of IRONMAN.
No. We digress. Everyone will be like Googling
Okay,
eating
I
roadkill.
know, I learned something.
It's a
Just
thing.
now.
There you go. That'll be
Yeah.
our feisty fun fact for the day.
Yeah, so it's been a fun week. I mean, the vibe is really good, despite all of the stress underneath and behind, like all the stuff that we do. You know, it's been really good fun, and I've really enjoyed it. And look, at the end of the day, it's a privilege to be here for everybody to be here, but for me in particular, you know, it's been such a journey to get to the finish and to get to the Ironman World Championships. I joined the team in 2022 officially when we were in Utah, and then Mike retired at the end of 2022 in Kona, and then suddenly there's a women's only race, and it's like, well, you're the female announcer, let's go. So that was insane in 2023, but I think I've grown into my role a little bit more. I've kind of got a bit more confident. And I'm really enjoying it all. And it's really cool. Like, it's a privilege to be here. It really is.
And after all this time, well, not all this time, but after these couple of years,
3 years,
these 3 years, does it feel a little bit more smooth? Like, do you roll through the week like you know what's coming, or how much prep goes on behind the scenes?
I know a lot of prep goes on.
Yeah. Well, I know how much prep we do for the podcast every week. I mean, we do a bit of prep every week. We don't just turn around and just talk. I mean, we do actually do a little bit of prep. So kind of an hour beforehand.
Believe
No,
it.
we do.
Looking casual, we have to plan for. Yeah.
But this is it. So you've got to prepare
it's true.
so much because, you know, you mentioned there about the things that I remember in my head, but it's like doing an exam. So anybody that studied for an exam, like, and especially an exam where you have to remember facts and figures like history or geography or English, all these wordy exams, that is what it's like. It's like studying every single day. So, what I tried to do was get as much of the information on the professional athletes in my head as possible before we got here. So by Monday, instead of focusing on, oh my God, I don't know anything about one of the professional athletes, I was like, just get as much done as you can, even on the plane, the last few bits and pieces. So I have like my cheat sheet of like the top facts for every single pro athlete. So when we see them, it's like a quick reference sheet. But then you've all of the events, like the legacy event is with some of our Hall of Famers. You have all these legends of triathlon, and the information needs to stay in your head. But what year did Julie Moss crawl across the finish line?
82.
Good answer. You know,
that was an easy one.
That was an easy one. No,
but I was joking. One of our people, like, oh, you have to like immediately know every person and their most recent race.
Yeah,
if they had a mechanical, like just off the top of your head. You're like, oh yes, so you had 7th at France.
Yeah,
you had a bad race in Hamburg. Like, how are you supposed to know everybody?
I know. But this is what we want to do. We want to know it. But the biggest event obviously is in terms of the pre-race prep is obviously race day, but you can have your notes in front of you on race day. Press conference is a totally different
press
ball
conference
game.
is like your big race day. That's why I was going to ask, because we were there. And I know you're very it's like your starting line. It is. It's probably not that it's a bigger day than race day, because race day is race day and it is the biggest day. But you're the person that Ironman hands their
Event 2 asks you to be the front and center, to host a press conference, to feature the global superstars, the athletes. So we know everything that we can do about these athletes, but a curveball can come, or a question mightn't suit an athlete and they don't want to answer it. And so then you're like, well, where do I go next? Because we have questions, but then you have to be able to listen to the answer that an athlete gives so that you can maybe delve off script a little bit.
There is some thinking on your feet.
Oh,
for sure.
there is a lot for sure. Yeah. But no, I really enjoyed the press conference yesterday. Okay. I think our 8 athletes that were on stage yesterday have proved that there's going to be some show on Saturday.
They're ready.
You know, they are so ready.
Ready.
And there was a bit of fun. And oh my God, Taylor was just like on fire.
Taylor's always Taylor, right?
She was brilliant fun.
I always have fun with Taylor.
Yeah.
Afterwards, she was like, whatever, in passing. But she was like, oh, there's a whole story, Kelly. And you're like, oh, well, now I want to know.
Yeah.
Like all the rest of the details.
The thing. Like, I'm sure there's a lot of stories that happened to all of these athletes in training, but before the race is not the time.
Yeah.
When they're like,
100%.
oh yeah, I got injured last week. Like, no one is saying
that.
Right?
No.
That's why the press conference is like, you asked like, why, like I didn't ask a question yesterday because I was like, I don't feel like they want more questions right now. Like they want to go home.
Yeah.
They don't want to talk about it. One of the other people who was in the back was like, why didn't you ask like who's mad at who? Like who wants to beat who? And I was like, they don't want me to ask them that.
Talk about
Maybe
that.
not. No.
Maybe after.
Maybe. Yeah. Yeah, but that's funny actually because the vibe is totally different at the post-race press conference.
Right, yeah.
So that just rolls, you know, definitely. Whereas my most nervous, and I do get nervous. I mean, I'm sure most people get nervous and a lot of people don't like public speaking. So then they think, wow, you're up there doing whatever. But we do get nervous. Don't believe that we don't because we do. But so the most prep up to yesterday is yesterday, you know. But what I was going to say actually just before talking about the press conference was I kind of had to compartmentalize every event. So I would study the day before for the event that's happening on the next day and then get up early in the morning, maybe try get out for a run, try and maybe do half an hour before I go running. So when I'm out running, I'm thinking about what's happening in the day. So thinking about the questions I might be asking or the facts and figures I'm trying to remember. And then if there's something that I don't remember, like for the press conference yesterday, there was one athlete, and I won't say who it is, but there was one athlete and I was like, oh wow, I can't remember what actually happened in that race that meant she didn't get to that finish line. So straight away when I came back,
you're like, was it an illness?
Was it DNF? Yeah, why was it? And I was like, oh, and what were the answers to 2 other questions in my head about that athlete? So straight away you come back in, you're like, okay, yes, no, I was right. So you're just, it's about reaffirming that your knowledge that you have.
Too, so I completely understand.
Even though running should be really just like, forget it. So today actually was quite relaxed.
Oh, good.
Today I ran for fun.
Yeah.
And I also got into the bay.
Oh, good. Imagine did you see the dolphins?
No, dolphins. I would have lost my life if the dolphins came near me.
No, they've been. If you came to Feisty headquarters, we promised dolphins. They've been jumping.
Been dolphins giving a show right off here every single day.
See some footage.
Jumping.
So it's been cool.
But we did want to talk about the press conference. We do have some clips from the press conference yesterday for people who didn't watch it live or weren't there in the stifling heat.
I know.
Yeah. So speaking of Taylor, you had asked her about her expectations for the race and both in 2023 and for this year. And then she talked a little bit also about growing up in a triathlon fandom family.
Is this the helicopter answer?
Yes.
I love it.
But the goal is still to try and win in 2025. Well, it's to have the best race possible, and I think that you see this field, I don't know anyone who can predict, so we'll see what happens on the day. So what did you learn in 2023 from that race that you're bringing into this race preparation? Bob Babbitt asked me this question this week, and he asked me like what I learned. Well, number one, don't lose 60% of your nutrition on the bike, ideally. Hopefully, we got that better, bottle cages. But I think one thing that I need to remember is that, okay, so the last hour was tough. But I had a great first 7.5 hours, which for an Ironman, that's pretty cool. Like, I mean, someone was like, yeah, it was a rough day. And I was like, well, no, it was actually like an amazing 7.5 hours. Then it got like really tough, got a little grumpy. Then like within 30 minutes of finishing, once I had like more food in me, I was good. So all in all, that day was amazing. And so just kind of like, well, what made that day special? What made that day very good? And take what I did well from that too. Because it's easy to pick yourself apart and say, oh, I can do this better and this better, but also sometimes when you do things well, it's like, okay, well, like, you kind of have an answer there.
So the first 7.5 hours were great.
Special race, I first and foremost was a fan of the sport, and so kind of, I think, I don't know if I should tell this story, but I was having breakfast with Lisa Bentley in London, and she was talking about 2005, and she's like, that's your Norman one, right? And I was like, no, he won in 2004 and 2006. Paris Elsaton won that year. And she just like looks at me like, okay, shocker. Like, but that's like, I grew up with it, and that was like, whenever there's a helicopter, Norman Stadler had a line that like, he likes to chase the helicopter because that's the front of the race in Kona. And that's what our family says every single time there's a helicopter. Like, it's just, not that it's, but it's just a massive fan of the sport to get to be a part of it, to be a part of the race, and like to see it, it's really special. And you also, I think it's a part of history in a sport where we're still very young, but you realize that, I see Mark in the front row, like some of the challenges that everyone on this stage will face on Saturday, you face those challenges in some way, shape, or form, and the many years you've raced here. And so that's also like the shared experience, both over the course of the day, and you talk about the value with age groupers, like everyone racing out there will have a shared experience, but also throughout generations. And whether it was year one of this or it's 45, right?
1978 was the first one.
Oh, then I missed it. But we missed
You're better
it
at maths than I am, I'm sure.
Yeah, I don't know, but also with the women's race, like, it wasn't first women, so just kind of like that shared experience of, because with Kona, you just don't know what you're going to get.
Absolutely. Well, we wish you the very best of luck on Saturday. Taylor Nib, everybody. Thank you so much.
I will say, so Taylor's mom has stopped by the Feisty booth this week. We chatted. I told Taylor that, and she was like, oh, I heard. So apparently the Feisty booth racing. But they are racing together again this year. And I think, like she mentioned, she grew up with this race. She, like, her parents raced it. She watched it on TV. It's a thing.
Yeah. Isn't it incredible that one of the rising stars of our sport gets to race a world championship with her mum on the same race course? I mean, I just got goosebumps and shivers when I said that.
Yes. And I was also thinking about how, like, that kind of family fandom, we didn't generationally is new. Like, she would be the first generation that would have that because triathlon's still such a relatively new sport. So, I think she's going to do well. I love how we're like, you do a lot of like judging how people like, do they seem calm? Do they seem relaxed? Yeah. I do. I thought a lot of the women,
they seem relaxed. They're ready to go.
Very ready.
Very ready.
I think if we said the cannon is going to go in the next 2 hours, those women would have said, let's go.
Let's go.
Yeah, they were ready.
There was a lot of, what's that meme? Like the dog that's like attached by its chain, like to a fence.
Ready to go.
Ready. Like, like that was sort of the energy in the room.
But when you think about it, I mean, the focus for so many of them have been on this race.
Sure.
It really has for the year. Like Kat Matthews came straight out at the top of the year saying Kona is my goal. I think the very first Feisty podcast we did, I let it slip that I wanted Kat Matthews to win, so, and you can see it by their racing as well. I mean, Laura's only raced 3 races. Kat has raced 4 races. You go back and you look at what Kat raced last year across the T100 and Ironman Pro Series. It was insane. Lucy has only raced a few races this year as well. I know she did really well in the T100, but these athletes
they're ready.
They're ready. And it's almost like there's been a shift in the preparation in terms of what's going to work and what's not going to work. Like, it'll be interesting to see will the resting or the lack of racing play to their strengths or play to their weaknesses.
And you actually did ask Kat. We also have a clip from Kat. You did ask Kat about that in the press
about her change in coaching, and she also commented on being coached on the run by her husband as well, which was very cute. As well as you asked her about her crash too, and some of the things that she learned coming out of that. So let's watch that clip.
So I was with my previous coach, Bjorn Giesman, for 4 years. In the first 4 years of my career, I realised that I haven't got 10 years of experience, which I'm feeling a bit nervous about now. And it was the right time to try and look at how can we change the training stimulus? How can I make myself adapt better to something harder? And we looked at the biggest gap. You could argue it was the swim, but potentially the bike is where I'm losing the race, or was last year. And Alex was a sort of an easy idea to ask. And luckily, he was dead keen. So I think it was a real fortunate for me to be working with one of the best ever known time trialists in the sport. And Mark sort of pulled together with a run. We chat about it in the morning and we go, yeah, let's do about that. And I suggest maybe something less, and he goes, no, we're doing more. So that's been really fun.
Who usually wins the argument there?
We agreed in August someday that he had total control, and I would do exactly on the run element of training, and I would do exactly as he suggested was the best training for that day.
And how has that worked out?
Totally fine. Haven't broken since, and I'm feeling really good about it. There's a nice element of spreading the risk there as well, because I don't feel like it's just me setting my own gung-ho paces and effort and heart rate, whatever I decide is appropriate for that day. It's Mark controlling it a little bit more and pushing me, so I'm able to be like, well, if it goes wrong, it's your fault. So it's actually quite nice. I feel like I have fully embraced what has happened in my life. Like I'm sure everybody has to go through those phases to come to terms with issues. And I think that that's where I am now, is that I'm very comfortable to talk about what happened and the challenges that I went through and still continue to face, as we all, with injuries on a daily basis. And I think that I've learned that it can't get much worse in terms of physical injuries in my mind. So I feel a little bit liberated by the idea that I could tackle anything that hit me. And it gives me a freedom to sort of say, well, let's see what I can do now.
Yeah, so we've just seen the clip of Kat Matthews, and what an absolute superstar. For those of you who aren't aware at home, the theme of the Ironman World Championship here is resilience, and Kat is the essence of resilience, and the Hawaiian word for resilience is ho'oikaika. So I hope she brings lots of ho'oikaika to her race on Saturday.
I was so proud of you for learning that. I mean,
she was trying to learn it phonetically the other day, and Diana was trying to teach her the race director
as well. You did very well.
Yeah. But look at, you look at what Kat has done, what she's come back from. She jokingly said, I'm ready for whatever will hit me, and she kind of laughs about it. Yeah. But what an incredible depth of character that she has to, the fear that she must have had of getting back on her bicycle after that crash must have been so insane. And to have the ability and the mental resilience to get back to where she is, and to now be, correct me if I'm wrong, but she's the second fastest female in our sport at the moment.
Over the Ironman distance. Yeah. And I will say the other thing is, and if you were here 2 years ago, right, when she was asked about it, it was a lot more fraught. And it was a lot more, and she definitely seems like she kind of even talked about it there. She's like gone through that now. She's embraced it. She's like, and she does seem, and this is always the joke, right? Like how relaxed everybody is. She is, I've never had a low key, chill, relaxed, fun conversation with Kat before a race until this week. And she is having fun. She's having a good time. She is ready to go.
Yeah, she's having fun, but she's done everything she can to get here.
Oh no, I'm just saying that is good. Yeah. People should be, the other athletes should be concerned that she looks relaxed and enjoying it and having fun and jumping on a trampoline.
And that was something else that somebody else said yesterday, and I can't remember who it was. It was about the importance of having fun. I think it was Solveig. She talked about having fun and how important it was to have fun, because yes, it's, you girls know, it's the profession, it's your career, but you need to be having fun. You need to be passionate about it, especially when you think about what they put their bodies through every single day, and what they're going to put their bodies and their minds through on Saturday is going to absolutely test every fiber of their being to get to that finish line.
And I feel like a lot of people, like, obviously you walk around all race week and you like judge how people look, and you're like, well, Chelsea looks like she's having fun. Kat looks like she's having fun.
Yes.
Taylor looks relaxed. People should be concerned.
Yes. That's why, I mean, when everyone says, or when someone was saying, was it Laura saying it could be a sprint finish?
Right.
Or like people are saying, oh, we don't know who, we really don't know. There's no standout. Like there's five women who could win the race.
To be fair, how can we tell here?
Yeah.
Because we don't know what the island is going to throw at these athletes.
Well, you always say that, but then sometimes you kind
of know Daniela's probably going to win.
You know.
Yeah, but then look at 2018 where
sometimes you kind of know she's probably going to win. Like, yeah, she could get a jellyfish sting and still win. But
Yeah. Or you know someone's had a bit of a run niggle that no one's talking about. And of course, you don't talk about it publicly either, but you kind of know that's in the works. So you maybe wouldn't bet on that.
I'm telling you, there are no secret injuries right now. There are no secret injuries.
And then I think what's interesting as well is if we take a little look at the men's race and the influence these short course athletes had and what they did out on the swim and the bike course. Like you look at Martin Van Riel and Jamie Riddle and what they did in Nice. And then you look at who's coming up from the shorter course racing. So you have Solveig, but you have Lisa Percherer. You have a couple of other athletes that are coming through there though. So how are they going to impact this race? Who is going to try and stay on Lucy's toes? How is the bike going to be impacted? Who's going to get out of the water ahead of Kat and Laura that are going to impact their ability to bridge the gap to get to the front?
Yeah, and who's going to go harder than they should because they're trying to stay with the group?
Who's going to blow up? We've seen some massive blow ups along the Queen K, especially on that way back in from Javi. So, you can never tell.
You don't usually see as big blow ups on the bike in the women's race. Yeah. But maybe this year's the year. Maybe what's the whole thing? Like the women always like race with like pacing and calm, and the men are always like, "Oh, I have to go for it." Maybe this year's the year.
The tides will turn.
Maybe they've been so relaxed. It's like they're just going to let it burn.
All right, but lastly, we did hear from Lucy because, of course, the big question that everyone's been like, is Lucy just going to win, gun to tape again? Like, is that just like we're all talking about all this and then she's just going to like go?
Yeah.
Who knows?
And she also talked about her run training too, because this is the first year she's had a consistent running. And I feel she's also celiac. So yeah, let's hear from Lucy. All right.
Gun to tape was pretty amazing in 2023. I think this year I'm just excited to see what I can do. I haven't really put any pressure on it. I know I'm in great shape, but anything can happen on this island. You need to have your best day. You need the island gods on your side. You need to be lucky. And yeah, I'm just going to go out there and try and soak up every moment and hopefully respond well to different race dynamics that happen. And we've got this incredibly strong field here. I think in 2023 we said it was the strongest female field ever, and then this year we've come back and it's even stronger again. So I'm really excited to test myself against these amazing women sat here, and yeah, I'm sure we're going to deliver an amazing show for everyone.
I'm sure you certainly are.
Yeah, I think this is probably the healthiest year of my entire career that I've had. Since finding out last year that I had celiac disease, it really was a big learning curve, but it also was such a big change for me. And I think every other year of my career I had to have weeks off running, and this is the first year I haven't missed 1 week of running. So I definitely feel really happy, really healthy, and I've definitely probably had the most fun training this year, just alongside other athletes like Marjolaine. We've had loads of fun in Lanzarote training together, and yeah, I think that joy comes out, and then with that you just are able to perform better every single day.
Yeah, so Lucy coming to this race with her first full year of run training healthy is very, very terrifying, especially given how she won here in 2023.
Yeah, it's insane.
What's the whole people should be the other athletes should be concerned?
Yeah.
My big question is, obviously Lucy knows how to win gun to tape. Other athletes know how to like try and like be behind and try and make it up. We have seen Lucy come back after she's gotten caught, but only for like lower down the podium. If she gets caught, will she come back on them on the run? Can she for the win? I think that's where it's going to be like interesting. I mean, she can, obviously. She's capable.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think she can. I mean, I think Lucy's one of those really, really mentally tough athletes. I mean, they're all mentally tough out there, but we've seen her like race with a stress fracture, which is hard for me to even imagine. Like it's, I don't know. I think it's a little bit, what do you call it? It's a little bit of an illusion. She's kind, she's there in the press conference and whatever. And then but on race day, I mean, like everyone, very, very tough and aggressive.
Sure. She is so tough. Like you think about it out on that marathon course here in 2023 and she's a mile in and she's literally thinking, I can't finish this. And Reese is like dig deep basically. Yeah. And she goes out with a small injury and she just digs so deep to take that win after 4 second places here. That girl is unstoppable. She really is. And you see what she did in the T100 to win this year as well. She's running strong. She looks good. She looks really fit and healthy, and she's smiling. She is smiling every single day.
Relaxed.
Like, so if she's coming into this race for the first time in I don't know how many years without any injury worries, imagine how cool and calm and collected she's feeling right now. yes, there's a lot of pressure on her shoulders because she's the most recent winner here in Kona.
That's what Laura said. She thinks Lucy has more pressure than her.
Yeah, so. I think we are going to be in for an ultimate showdown. Yeah. And again, as I just mentioned, I think it's what's going to happen behind Lucy that's going to affect the biggest effect of what's going to happen, the dynamics that's going to happen behind her with some of those shorter course
you asked why the question I wanted to ask in the press conference, but then I decided they didn't want me, was if Kat and Taylor and Laura have talked about how they're going to work together to catch Lucy. I wanted to. And then I was like, nope, they're not going to answer that.
No, I
That's
don't
what I wanted to know. Is if they're like, here's what we're going to do.
Yeah, but you'd wonder, you know the way, and this might be very naive of me, but you know the way the Norwegian boys, they came out in the press conference and Gustav and Christian basically said, we three are going to work together legally, obviously, as far as we can until we get to the second half of the marathon, and then it's every man for himself. Imagine if
like Kat, Taylor, Solveig,
imagine imagine if athletes work together. But even if you went back to say Kat, Indy Lee, Stephanie Clutterbuck is probably going to be out of the water really early. Imagine if she got out there and she was setting the pace for the race, and then you've Indy Lee and Kat, and they kind of all work together to get to a certain point, and then it's every woman for themselves.
This is what I wanted to ask, but I thought
yeah, I don't think it's going to happen. No, I don't think so. Yeah, maybe. Yeah,
we'll be like so. So obviously, we've been talking about we have you here. There's a lot of work that goes in, and earlier and this whole week we've been talking about the pros mostly and kind of like the vibes. But I feel like day before we should really talk about all the work that went in. So earlier in the week we did meet with Diana Bertsch, who her official title is Vice President.
She is the Senior Vice President World Championship event.
We just call her the woman in charge.
Yeah,
she's in charge.
The woman in charge. Yeah, but she's been race director here for
22 years.
In charge of this event for 20 years, over 20 years, a full 2 decades. I mean, that is absolutely incredible. Talk about resilience. She is an incredible leader and an inspirational woman. She really is.
Absolutely. So let's hear from her. Hello. We are here with Diana Bertsch, the Senior Vice President of World Championship Events. Did I get that right?
You got it right.
Yay! First thing, check. So Diana, I wanted to ask you, when did you first come across Ironman? Like, what was your first instance of knowing what it was and your first impression?
So I was here in Hawaii. I was on vacation, and this event happened to be going on, and there was this hustle and bustle, and race day was the day we were flying out. So I came down to the pier, stood on the seawall, and watched the event, and at that point I was like, I have to do that someday.
Oh wow. That was your immediate impression. I need to do this.
Like watching that swim start, I still get chicken skin thinking about that moment. It was just unbelievable, still is unbelievable all these years later. Still get chicken skin, and now I get to stand on the seawall front and center.
In charge. We call you the woman in charge when we're around town.
Well, that's very nice, but it's just not me. It's this amazing, incredible team that I get to work with. It so blows me away what they do. Yeah.
And so what year was that when you were on holiday, and then how long before you actually did the race?
So that was 1990, and then I had the opportunity to cross the finish line in 1995.
Oh wow. Well done. How many times have you raced here?
Once.
Good choices.
It was amazing, but I'm not fast at all. And so I had this incredible opportunity. And then in 1997, started to work for the company, and definitely have my fulfillment on the other side and being a part of producing the event.
Right. And we know it takes a lot to, sorry if anyone can hear the loud rap music. That's part of the Kona experience, right? Like trucks driving by with loud music?
Definitely trucks, and definitely on Elite E Drive, there's going to be some loud music.
Right, yeah. We're bringing it to you real here. So from there, what was your first job with Ironman? When did you first start working here?
1992, I started to volunteer. And I think that I've done every volunteer position that there is, and you learn what you like, and you learn what you're like, wow, I don't want to do that again. So volunteered in 92, had the opportunity to do the race in 95, and then started working for the event in 97. Was with the company for 3 years for the event. And then I went into the resort business, worked at Hualalai Four Seasons in Kukio. In 2003, I got a call back. And they said, hey, we'd like to know if you'd like to come back and be our race director.
So we know you have a great team here in Kona, and I have personally seen them execute on this race for, I don't know, close to 20 years now, which is kind of wild. But what does it take? I mean, this is a huge loaded question, but behind the scenes, what does it take towards getting towards a great race day?
Oh, it is a loaded question, and it's truly, when I talk about it, and people say it isn't one person. It really is a team, and that is bigger than you can describe in a little interview. But we have probably on staff and vendors and crew for this event close to 400 people that are here. Yeah. Outside of that, you have your volunteer directors and assistant directors. They bring on key coordinators, and then that builds into that over 5,000 volunteers.
Right. You got like leaders within your group. Do you have leaders that repeat and come back and who volunteer here?
We have some volunteer directors that have been doing it for over 40 years, which is just crazy to me. And they still are smiling, and they're the ones that really paved the way for us to be able to do what we do in this community. But it really is something that when you break it down, like if you go out and you talk to somebody that's in transition and understand what it takes to plan for it, build it, execute it, and then you take that and you take every department there is, it's pretty incredible, something that is an incredible challenge and really fulfilling, and you have to probably thrive a little bit off of adrenaline.
When do you start preparing for this race? Like after this one's done, when do you start looking at 2026?
We already have. Like you can't just wait for that year to come. So we've been talking about 26, at least a year. You get into it, and then this week I probably drive my team crazy a little bit because I say, so that looks like that now, but let's think about what it's going to look like in 26, and how do we manage it, and how do we manage it differently if we need to.
Right. And I'm really curious about, I'm sure that you've overcome some large challenges over the years. Like, are there moments that stand out where you had a challenge, whether that's race week or prior to race week, that your team overcame?
It would probably, everybody says you should write a book, right? There is so much that happens on any given day. And as I think about that, and I'll tell you, remind me to talk to you after this race, and I'll share some of the challenges that we had on Tuesday. But I will tell you, if I look back at that, probably the most incredible challenge as a team that we faced was 22. And, it's one of those things that what I really love about what I do is that I'm a part of an organization that says, hey, let's try. Let's see what we can do, but trying is great. That doesn't mean you're always going to get it right. And then you learn that you have to pivot, and what is it that you do next to change and to find that success again. 2022 was definitely the hardest thing that I've ever done working for this company.
2 days, yeah.
2 days of racing, yeah. And so if I say that to like my key leaders, they just look at me like we don't want to talk about that. We don't want to relive
some trauma.
Definite trauma from 2022. It's just doing something that, the team has been, they're so committed to excellence, and the challenges that we faced. And I think number one is learning that doing a race on a weekday is not ideal. But the bigger problem is you have this team that basically did not sleep for, I feel like, 4 days, right. And, you set up, you produce the event, you basically tear some things down, reset, and you do it all again. And you just, it was a challenge. But on the other side of it, what I continue to be amazed by my team is they did it. And when we were put in that position because of the change in the world and the pandemic, when we were faced with that, when I initially presented it to the people that would be responsible for really making it happen, not one of them questioned it. They were all in. And that's the thing that's amazing to me. Again, some of the things that have just transpired today, every single person that I've gone to and said, this is where we're at, what can we do? They have solutions. They're all in. They don't question it. They don't complain. And that's what makes it work.
This year we have a women's only race. What are some of the differences that you find internally between a women's year and a men's year?
Well, I think the biggest thing is that women just move a little bit lighter.
Well said.
And so you feel it. Like even at Athlete Check-In, they were opening this morning, and there's a calmness. They're just walking in and having their experience, and There definitely is a different dynamic in the energy, but we're different humans, right? And so everybody, I have to say, in 23, I actually had a couple people ask me, "Did you have the event?" And so I was like, "Yes, it happened." So it's beautiful. We love it, and so we're looking forward to an incredible race on race day with an amazing professional field and the age group field and the excitement and just some incredible people racing.
All right, you got a little bit of a peek into like how much work goes into it. Joanne, I mean, there's hundreds of people, thousands of volunteers, so much work goes in.
Yeah, there's so many people. I mean, Diana is the Senior Vice President, World Championship events. So she is the visionary behind the World Championship events. It's a crazy season for her and her very small team that are based here in Hawaii. And then other members of the team work remotely across the States. But this team and the team that are here that work these events are absolutely incredible. Ironman gets a bad rap, for loads of different reasons.
They also get a good rap.
But they get a good rap as well. But look, ultimately, the people that are here that are working this event, every one of us wants to see every single athlete across the finish line. They've got to this start line. We want to see everybody across the finish line. We want those dreams to be realized. We want those legacies to be created. We want those champions to arise and to make it onto Elite Drive. And everyone on the team they're just fabulous. We've so much fun, even when it's really, really stressful. Diana talked about the 2-day event here in 2022. For that team to deliver 2 days, I know I was worried about losing my voice because we had, the whole week build up and then 2 days of racing. But these guys, I'd say they didn't sleep for weeks before it. But yeah, look, the people are incredible that are here. And then the volunteers, the Cheryl Cobb, who was presented with the Malama Award at the banquet last night, she has thousands of volunteers, getting involved in this event. All of those race directors are those they're called volunteer directors, that look after like aid stations, bike course, volunteer coordinator, security, all those things, public safety. They do that as volunteers. For those of us that are here, that when it's our job, we don't do it just because it's a job. We do it because we love it. Like that's very clear from what people deliver here.
Yeah. And it's, like you said, like there are a lot of stories out there. They want everybody. I have been at races where, my friend was the race director and they're out there with the last runner being like, get up, you can make it. So, they're very invested. Yeah. So it's a big day for everybody.
Certainly is.
And all of these age group stories. You were telling me you were at the ambassador panel, or you?
No, I wasn't at the ambassador panel. So Tammy got to interview the ambassador panel. But there's 1,600 athletes here with us, just over 1,600 athletes. That's 1,600 stories. Sure. 1,600 people who have trained hard. They've done what they can to get to the start line, and now it's the opportunity to get to the finish line. And there's a couple of those stories that are just absolute standouts. Yeah. So one of the athletes that's racing is Laura Bardsley from the United Kingdom. She suffered with anorexia and bulimia for almost 10 years and wasn't allowed to exercise, as you can imagine, because it was bad for her health. She wasn't a healthy weight. But when she did get to a healthy weight, she decided to, instead of focusing on how her body looked, she focused on what her body could achieve. And here she is on the start line here in Kona. There's another lady from New Zealand called Tamsin, who had a brain bleed at 15 years of age. Yeah. Absolutely incredible. Had partial blindness for a little while, has epilepsy, PTSD and depression. She went through multiple surgeries over the course of a really short period of time. And last year in Cairns, she got to race the Ironman there and cross the finish line, which is incredible considering what she's had to go through. There's another definition of resilience for you. But in New Zealand earlier this year in March, she raced at her home race, crossed the finish line, finished high up in her age group, and stamped her ticket for Kona. Amazing. So she's rewriting her story, and part of it starts here in Kona. And then the other athlete who I've never met this lady, but I can't wait to meet her, is Colleen Brown. Her husband, Kyle, had ALS, and he raced the 2021 Ironman 70.3 World Championship. And sadly, he passed away. Oh, sorry. Actually, we'll fast forward to 2022, and he started the Ironman World Championship in St. George, the one that was the delayed one from 2021. But sadly, he DNF'd. He had to pull out. He was in the later stages of his illness at the time, and he passed away in 2023. Colleen, I'm getting the shivers talking about this, which I did during the week as well. Colleen went back to St. George and raced the Ironman 70.3, and she crossed the finish line. And now she's here in Kona. Okay. She got to finish what he didn't, and she carries on that legacy for him. What so, you know, just three incredible women who are just redefining what's possible for them in their lives. And I think what's incredible about these athletes that come to the World Championship and make it to Kona and get to that finish line is they become heroes in their own communities. You know, there's somebody looking at Colleen, somebody looking at Tamsin, somebody who's going through a journey with an eating disorder, who sees hope in what these women are doing. And they're doing it while holding down jobs, while training, while minding their families, while doing all of the daily wonderful things that we get to do. And then they come to the big island and they get to race and be an example for everybody. And I just think it's incredible.
Yeah, we also have talked, I mean, there's so many stories. We talked to a woman who got hit by lightning while she was biking and she's here. We talked to the woman who is the oldest racer, Natalie Grabeau. She is 80.
Yes.
And if she finishes, she'll be the oldest woman to have ever finished Kona.
Across the Ironman World Championship finish line. Yes.
She finished Maryland back in the fall and became like the oldest
and she
woman to have
she
finished.
Had 2 hours to spare.
She finished at 15:50.
Yeah.
So we were like, I feel like you can do this.
Yeah. 100%.
She was like, oh, it was a faster course.
Oh, so humble. But then you look at Missy Lestrange.
Yes.
Missy Lestrange has raced 35 Ironman World Championship events. Cherie Gruenfeld, who was inducted into our Hall of Fame, she started 22 races, finished 22 races and became a 14-time Ironman World Champion. Now she's not racing this week.
She's
Natalie,
only doing 70.3 now.
so she raced here in Hawaii earlier this year. And you know, all of these women, they're just incredible.
I like I'm like, she's only doing 70.3.
I know.
82.
Like 82. Gosh.
It's so hard to fathom.
That's like 40 years away. You know, for me, a little bit less than that now, but 30 years away. Will I still be here in 30? Will I still be bouncing around the finish line in 30 years?
I just wanted to put myself in someone else's body for a second to be like, how does it feel to be Ironman World Champs fit?
Sure.
40 years from now,
you
know,
I'm not even Ironman World Champion now.
I just want to know.
So we did talk to Cherie though. Not to ask her that. How does that feel? No, to talk about the Hall of Fame and just everything, and if she's rooting for Natalie to, you know, break her record this weekend.
Cherie, first of all, congratulations on the induction to the Ironman Hall of Fame. The ceremony happened last night. How does it feel?
It feels a bit overwhelming, but really great. To be included with all the accomplished athletes that are in the Hall of Fame was a real surprise to me, and certainly an honor. And it's been very nice. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah. Did you get a phone call that's like, hey, Ironman calling?
Yes, and it really was kind of funny. It was just like maybe a week and a half ago, maybe 2, I don't know. Anyway, I got a message from Diana Bertsch late at night saying, I'd like to chat with you, which wasn't unusual, you know. And I said, okay. And she said, I said, I'm available now if you want to talk. And she said, no, I'd like to see your face, so let's do it tomorrow, and maybe we'll do a Zoom. And I thought, what is this, proof of life or something? Then the Hall of Fame thing was the furthest thing from my mind. But we got together on the phone, and she said, the reason I'm wanting to talk to you is because we're inducting you in the Hall of Fame. And it took me a minute to catch what she was really saying. So it was great.
And you know, it's funny because I know that you've won, now I've learned that you've won 14 times here, your age group. But the way that you came sort of into my consciousness, I've raced here 6 times, and which is nothing compared to you.
6 times is something.
It's something, but you know, and I remember thinking at one of the awards ceremonies, I swear that woman is up there every year. And it turns out you were. So I know that you started when you were 48, right? And like, what was sort of your pathway between seeing Ironman for the first time, winning your age group for the first time, and deciding kind of to dedicate so much of your life to it?
Well, I don't know if you know the story. I was raised before Title IX in college and high school and college. So I did no sports whatsoever. And I was always active, but no sports. And this whole thing started when I was 42, when I saw the first LA Marathon on TV. And I thought, whoa, I'm going to do that. I wasn't a runner. Didn't know anybody that was. But I bought a book and I started running. And I did a marathon 6 months later and qualified for Boston and did Boston. And then I thought, well, this is cool, and I'll keep running marathons. And then I saw Bob Babbitt's magazine, competitor magazine, dedicated to Ironman. At that time, I was 48. I didn't own a bike. I was not a triathlete. I could swim, but I wasn't what you'd call a swimmer. And it was just so far removed from where I was. I thought I didn't even think about it. And my husband, Lee, came to me and said, you should try this. And it took him several months to get me there. And I finally said, yeah, that's it. And then it's a long story, a little bit of a long story, but we don't have time for that. But I did Kona then a few months later. It was my first Ironman. So I came here really not knowing anything. And as that first race, I crossed the finish line, ran straight into Lee's arms and said, I love this thing, and I know how I can do it better next time. And that was it. I was just hooked. And I came back almost every year.
Right now, as of this day, you're still the oldest finisher here, right?
I am. And Natalie Gorbau is 80, and she and I kind of grew up together in the sport. And I wish her the best of luck. I hope that it would be wonderful for women all over to know that an 80-year-old could do it.
Yeah, I mean, we've been talking about it even in, like, back at our place, kind of like, what must that feel like, you know, because, you know, I'm 49. I already feel some aches and pains, right? It is a really, it's almost unimaginable. It's as impressive as the person winning the race.
Well, there's no doubt about it. At 80, I'm 81 now, it's tougher. The training is tougher, the racing is tougher, your times are slower. So much of the adjustment is not only physical, but it's mental, because you have to understand that you need to set your goals for today, not for 5 years ago. Yeah. But I think it can be done. I really believe that an 80-year-old could do it.
I will say, when we talked to Natalie, because Cherie said she's rooting for Natalie, she thinks like it can be done. When we talked to Natalie and we were like, oh, you guys friends? She was like, no, we're competitors.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, well, fair.
So it's safe to say Natalie is here to finish and to get that record.
Yeah.
What was it, Danielle? Yesterday, we're friendly. And you're like, okay.
Yeah, but you know, Cherie is just she's just such an incredible human. You know what she's done as well beyond the sport. Like, it wasn't just about crossing the finish line. And if you know what she spoke about at her Hall of Fame speech as well, you know, she was a marathon runner. She was like, I think Lee was told her to do an Ironman, basically suggested she does it. She was like, oh, I won't like it. And then she does the one here, qualifies to get here, crosses the finish line, and is like, oh my God, this is my sport. You know, and she's over 3 decades of racing, and is a multiple Ironman 70.3 world champion. Like, she crossed the finish line in Topol last year as the oldest female finisher and a world champion as well. But what she's done with those kids, in exceeding expectations, has been incredible. And that whole thing of giving back as well, I think, is hugely important as well. That it's not just about the sport. And yes, there's probably great camaraderie and great rivalry between Natalie and Cherie. But at the end of the day, they're still super ambassadors for our sport, and they're paving the way. They're trailblazing for the rest of us to look and aspire and say, wow, will I still be running on Elite Drive in, you know, 30 odd years time?
I was definitely inspired.
Yeah,
honestly.
It's incredible.
Yeah. I don't know if I still, maybe I'll try and come back.
Yeah. So there's no continuation from now till then.
No, you can't break the streak. We're here now. We're back.
All right, Joanne, tomorrow is race day.
It's
your, I know, it's your, well, last night, Sarah kept thinking it was today. So I'm just letting people know.
Very confused.
Vic, who's racing the USA team, thinks it's on Sunday. So we just got to tell people.
But you know what I thought was so funny, right? So Ireland are obviously ahead of us, right? So I kept seeing all these Facebook posts going, oh, and the women's race takes place tomorrow. And I'm like, what? No, we still have a whole day to go. But obviously, you know, the time difference.
So race day is tomorrow. It's also obviously, it's the big show. It's your big race day. How do you, give us some tips. How do you keep up the Joanne energy levels all day?
I don't know, because I think, well, look, the most important thing is to be prepped in terms of all the work is all done at this stage. Like it's, there'll probably be a few little bits and pieces we'll still need to go through in terms of what's in my brain. But it's just take a moment to realize where we are and what we're doing and the privilege that it is to be here. Race tips in terms of keeping the energy high, fuel well today, just like the athletes fuel well, take the rest when we can get them, take those little naps. For the spectators, definitely hydrate, have your food, use the Ironman tracker, know where athlete is, be like Taylor's family and follow the helicopter so that, if you hear the helicopter coming and you think you want to see them on the finish line, then you need to make your way onto Elite Drive before the winner comes. And just go and have fun and cheer everybody on as well. I think it's hugely important because, the athletes are out there for such a long time, and it doesn't matter that you've never met them before. Every little bit of encouragement we can give to the athletes is hugely important. In terms of minding ourselves, we've a fantastic team. So we do, work together. I'll be on the start with Paul, I believe. I'll hopefully get some time on the hot corner. I do love working the hot corner when they're coming in off the bikes. We'll be in transition. We'll be back on the finish line, and then we'll be going right through until the very last athlete. But there's myself, Paul, Tammy, we've got Eric Gilsonen, and we've got Jay Style, the hype man as well, and DJ Dane Lee.
DJ,
so it's really cool. And
do you take breaks?
Oh, you want to take a break, but then you're afraid you'll miss something. And also you're not really taking a break because anytime you're not on the microphone, you're watching the live broadcast because we don't get to watch the race. We only see the athletes. Right. We're only commentating what we see in front of us. So we don't know what's happening in the race if we're not watching the live show. Every so often we can look at the tracker and say, oh, so-and-so has taken over or so-and-so is still in the lead or whatever. But we don't. If we do get a half an hour to go back to the room, you have the live coverage on. You might get a quick shower if you're lucky, but I don't think so. But yeah, it's a job, but it's a privilege, and we feed off the energy of the athletes. We feed off the energy off the crowd, and we just want everybody to have an incredible day.
All right, here's the question. I've been asking. Somebody stole my question in the press conference today because all week I've been asking the pros what they want us to yell at them when we see them. So now that we have the professional cheerer here, what is your favorite thing to yell at people on the race course?
I don't yell at people.
Fine. Encourage people. What's your favorite thing to cheer?
Just like keep going. You've got it. Look. It's just like you're looking awesome. You're looking good. You're looking good. You're looking good.
When you see us down, when you see us down in like the media area, I'll be like, "You're looking good, Joanne.
Yeah, thanks.
Keep going.
Thank you. Yeah,
you got this."
Yeah. But I think anything that you can say to an athlete to encourage them, no matter who they are, is really good. Just dig deep, get it done. Look at as far as the race is concerned, the athletes have one job.
Yep.
It is to get to that finish line. And whether you're here for the very first time or it's your 35th time, like Missy Lestrange, you have one job, and that is to get to the finish line, get that medal. No matter what happens out on the course, these athletes have had such resilience to get here in the first place. They just need to be able to adapt to what happens out there and support each other out on that course as well. It's an individual sport, but we're all in it together, and everybody wants to be a warrior, a wahine, and get to that finish line.
Awesome.
Well, I can't think of any better way to end.
Well, thank you, Joanne, for joining us. Thank you, everybody at home. Thank you, all the pros who are sitting around tapering and watching right now. And thank you to our sponsors, Wahoo, Lever, and Heddas. They have great codes to get discounts in the show notes. And we will be back post-race with a post-race Feisty show.
Mahalo! Woo!